The way that the Niners are talking about it, the way that Shanahan reacts when he's asked about Jauan's availability, because of the injury or is it because of the contract? It's almost as if the Niners are just trying to wipe from existence his desire to get a new contract. Like they're just treating him as a guy with an injured calf.
Say no to them. If you do say no to Jauan, it's not going to stop the next person from asking for more money. And so it feels so desperate right now to have Jauan out there because the entire wide receiver room is beset by injury. And I don't know how many of you even heard this or even care, but one of the depth pieces, a veteran, Russell Gage, who was probably at least going to be on the team earlier in the year, he's now popped up injured too. And so you gave the list of healthy wide receivers.
You want to hear them?
After Ricky Pearsall? I really don't.
Well, I'll give them to you anyway.
Yeah, do it anyway.
So you got Ricky. Sky Moore, who was just acquired and showed up mid-practice today. The trade has officially been finalized. He passed his physical. Robbie Chosen, you probably know him more as Robbie Anderson. Isaiah Hodgins, Bay Area kid, hasn't done much in the NFL. Junior Bergen, 7th-round rookie out of Montana, who's not really a receiver. Niners are thinking he might make the roster only as like a kicker punt returner. Who knows? He might not even make the roster. Malik Turner, who last caught a pass in the NFL in 2021, and Malik Knowles, who they just signed off the street yesterday.
I mean,
that's the group of healthy wide receivers right now, or non-suspended wide receivers right now.
Halfway through that, you started bringing up names that I don't even know what to do with.
I could have made up names. You wouldn't know any better.
Completely. Yeah. What was the last one? Beyonce Knowles?
There's two Maliks, Malik Turner and Malik Knowles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, who's that?
Exactly.
I know who Malik Turner is. I do not know who Malik Knowles is. Anyway, whatever. So
that's kind of the point.
That's the situation. And then we all know that as the season unfolds, then there's Demarcus Robinson, and then there's eventually Brandon Aiyuk, and quite frankly, there is Jauan Jennings. Like, he's on the team, and I don't know about the whole injury versus contractual or what have you. I don't think he's going to be willing to miss games, but my concern is that he will show up for games, and at a certain point, they're going to put him in there, and I don't like it when players miss camp because they usually underperform and get hurt.
We saw it last year.
Yeah.
Brandon Aiyuk. You remember the drops he had in week 1? You were at that game.
Oh, yes, I do. He got booed.
In the corner of the end zone.
He got booed. I don't care what anybody says. He got booed.
And that kind of continued because he got hurt, week 6? Whenever that was?
6, yeah.
You could kind of tell by then he was kind of getting his feet under him and it seemed smoother, but the beginning was bad, and the Niners got off to a bad start that year. And if he's in camp the whole time, maybe he's better and they win a couple more games. Who knows? The season was probably doomed anyway. But his performance specifically was not aided by that. You could possibly point to Trent Williams, too. Trent Williams wasn't in camp at all last year. And he missed 7 games last year, only played in, 10 games, whatever it was. So I don't know if there's a direct line there, but at least last year it seems like it was. Yep. And you might go into the same situation where you have Jauan, even if he comes back the final week of training camp, a week before week 1. Yeah, is he out there and ready to go for week 1? Yeah, probably. But is he completely ready for a football game?
And wide receivers,
No.
Yeah. I mean, even go back to Nick Bosa the year before that, where it was like there's a ramp up and it was just underwhelming and kind of wobbly, and there were nagging injuries. I know he didn't have a huge one, but last year, all we talk about with this receiver core was their inability to separate. Like, the 49ers had such problem with separation, and Jauan's not a separate guy anyway. He's a big body who can make a catch in traffic, but I got to think, dude, if you're missing even a quarter step, that's monstrous in the wide receiver world.
Oh, yeah.
It's just monstrous. And so, I don't know. I don't know what you do with Jauan, even if he does show up in a week and a half. I say show up. He's there already, but gets his uniform and gets out on the practice field for game week. Do you play him?
I think you have to.
Because
you're looking at having to play Robbie Chosen,
used to be Robbie
alongside
Anderson.
Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think everything you laid out is accurate, and the need for Jauan is gigantic. They need Jauan. Whether or not their wide receiver room is healthy, frankly, they need Jauan. They need Jauan out there. If we just talked to D. Winters, and he says, the expectation is to win a Super Bowl. And okay, what else is he going to say? But if you're trying to win a Super Bowl, you need Jauan to be one of your top 3 receivers this year. He absolutely has to be. So with that said, and how much he is needed, I think it's telling that we have not seen any movement in terms of a contract negotiation, and it hasn't even been talked about at all publicly. Like, I can think back to last year with Aiyuk, 2 years ago with Bosa, year prior to that with Debo Samuel. Those played out more publicly than this one has, and those are obviously big money deals. It's a little different than this, but it was a question almost every single time Shanahan spoke, the few times Lynch would speak. So how are the contract negotiations going with those guys? They're not talking about it as a contract thing at all with Jauan. They're talking about it as injury related. He's got to get back out to practice.
Well, and that's one of the main reasons. The two reasons this sounds so different are kind of what you're indicating. This is not as high profile of a situation, and actually maybe call it three reasons. He's not on social media talking about it, which neither were Nick Bosa or Trent Williams, but Brandon Aiyuk certainly was. There was no question Debo was in his situation. Jauan has been very quiet, handled it very, very maturely, all of that. But yes, they're at least able to hide. I don't know if that's a fair word.
Yeah.
But they're able to hide behind this calf injury, which they won't talk much about. They won't put a timeline on it. We don't know much about it. We just know that the MRI shows, there it is. But those who are tapped in are suggesting that this is at worst, or at best, whichever way you want to look at it, only partially about injury. And the more mysterious it gets, and the quieter it gets, and the longer it goes, the more I believe this is not about his calf.
I agree. The way that the Niners are talking about it, the way that Shanahan reacts when he's asked about Jauan's availability, and it's this, open term. His availability. Is that because of the injury or is it because of the contract? I don't know. But the way that Shanahan is talking about, it's almost as if the Niners are just trying to wipe from existence his desire to get a new contract. Like, they're just treating him as a guy with an injured calf. And they hope that he's back soon because he's going to need to start practicing if he's going to play week 1. And it seems to me, Willard, that the 49ers are negotiating this contract extension hope for Jauan by just not even negotiating it at all. Yep. They're just cutting off all talks, and they're saying, you're playing on this deal. Whenever your calf is ready, whenever you want to give up, we're here and waiting, but you're not getting this contract. And it sucks for Jauan because Jauan is the perfect Niner Shanahan wide receiver. This is just, though, not a negotiation about Jauan Jennings. This is a negotiation about the 3-4 Niners that are getting ready to do this next year and 2 years from now. This is about the Niners setting a new precedent and saying, all right, you young, important players on our roster that want more money soon, don't follow what Nick Bosa did. Don't follow what Brandon Aiyuk did. It's not going to work anymore.
And I think that's silly. I really do. The bottom line is this, and I'm not saying that the 49ers should pay him. That's not what I'm saying. But if you basically have a company that is using its leverage to hold a very good employee under their thumb, and the basic idea behind it is we don't want to set a bad precedent for a bunch of other people. In other words, a complete hypothetical. Gee, have you ever had that? Anybody listening, have you ever had that happen to you? I know I have, where a company will just hold you under its thumb and say, we're not going to let you do that because we can do that to you, and we know damn well you're powerless in this situation. And the reason we're doing it is not because you've done anything wrong. It's not because you don't deserve what you are asking to do. It is because we are going to convince ourselves that if we say yes to you, then everybody else in the world we have to say yes to. No, you don't. No, you don't. Say no to them. Well, and by the way, if you do say no to Jauan, it's not going to stop the next person from asking for more money. This is what NFL players do. And there's two reasons they do it. One, they get hurt every day. And the second reason they do it is because you, NFL, you set it up this way. You're the ones that won't do guaranteed deals. You're the ones that leave all this flimsy stuff on the back end of contracts, and then you get mad at them when they overperform and say, hey, I'd like a little something for the effort. I had somebody text us yesterday when I had this point and say, wow, like, why do you think that players don't have to hold up their end of the bargain on a contract? Mark, like you keep saying that teams sometimes don't hold up the contract. And he's like, yes, they do. Have you ever seen the check not clear? And I'm like, have you ever seen someone get cut in the middle of camp when they've got 2 or 3 years left on their deal?
Happens all the time.
I have. So again, I'm not saying the Niners should buckle. I'm simply saying that this angle people take on Jauan is really unfair. He is doing exactly what he should do based on the way the system is set up, even though it damn well probably won't work, because the big boy always has the end leverage. Always.
Absolutely. I'm not saying what the Niners are doing is good for Jauan and good for the player. It's not. It's good for the organization. They're doing what they think is good for the organization. And, yeah, they could say yes to Jauan, and Jauan gets an extension close to what he was looking for, and he's happy. He's back in camp. Niners as a football team are better for this year. All of that can be true. And then, who knows? D. Winters has a great year this year, and then he holds out next year. And the Niners could say no to D next year too, but it's not just about saying no. It's about avoiding the situation in the first place where you have a gigantic long holdout that hurts your team to begin a football season.
By the way,
that hurt them last year with Aiyuk.
No doubt.
It hurt them with Bosa the year prior.
Isn't the word precedent a funny one, though? Because think about it this way. If they'll sit down, and this is what companies do, they'll sit down and say precedent. This is what we're worried about this, because if we do this, then we got to do it for the next 12 people. Why can't Jauan say, you're the one who already set the precedent?
Well, that's why they're trying to set a new precedent now.
And Jauan has every right to say,
he does.
Why with me?
Of course he does.
Why am I the one who suddenly has to be the face of you changing the way you do your business?
Bad timing, Jauan.
Well,
we just had to say bye to Dre Greenlaw and Talanoa Hufanga, and we don't want to have to go through that again.
And I get Jauan saying, you want to talk about bad timing? Good luck against the Seahawks with Sky Moore and somebody named Malik.
Which is why I think the next news we hear about all of this is Jauan either saying, you know what, fine, I'm showing up and I'm practicing again, or I'm now demanding a trade.